Welcome, you guys. I'm LaJoyce, and this is The Joy Journey. Thank you for joining me today. If I told you there were changes that you can make in your body today to rid your body of inflammation, provide optimal nutrients, and rebuild your fertility health to a cellular level, would you take those steps? That's what we're touching on today. Let's get into it. Number one, what should I drink? Okay, we've got to talk about one of the most important parts of the fertility diet, and that's good old-fashioned water. Water is so important with the fertility diet. In fact, is one of the number one things that will help turn your fertility around. In the 23rd Psalm, David spoke of being led by the still, quiet waters. That did what? It restored his soul. And you guys, that does not apply just in the Bible days, it applies today as well. And not only does water restore the soul, but it also has physical changes that will affect your body in the same way, restoring and replenishing your soul, your cells, your eggs, your sperm, all of the above. Let's not forget that water helps to flush out toxins from the body that we do not need a part of our system when going through infertility. We need about 2 quarts of water per day, depending on your weight, give or take, in order to nourish the body. And my suggestion is to get your first quart first thing in the morning. I would suggest that it be at room temperature, but it's not a must. If you're a person that cannot drink room temperature water, like my husband, you can drink it chilled as long as you drink it, guys. Not to mention, if some people would like to add fruit or lemon or different things, cucumbers, vegetables, things to your water to make it more appealing to you, as long as it's not sugar and you're not making it an aid, then you can actually do those things as well to help get it down. You want to make things easy on yourself, so my suggestion would be to prepare it the night before, set it beside your shower, and when you get ready to take a shower, to wash the outside, you drink that water to flush out that inside as well. Try to stay away from using plastic bottles unless it's BPA free. Plastic bottles, when introduced to heat, if it has been left out in the sun before you even received it, actually can release chemicals into the body that's very harmful to our hormones over a period of time. So the safe way would be to drink out of glass containers or drink filtered water if you do. Not to mention, it's just better for the environment. Okay guys, I have to break this to you. We must get rid of the caffeine and alcohol. I remember when I was going through the infertility journey, I was trying so hard to find a way around this. Like, okay, well, what is the optimal amount that I can drink and still be, within the limits, caffeine that is. Alcohol wasn't hard for me to stop because I knew the effects of alcohol on an unborn child. So I never wanted to give my child any type of disadvantages starting off. I loved to have a glass of tea or occasional latte or coffee every now and then. But you really need to cut it out completely if you can. If you're a heavy caffeine drinker, switch down to decaffeinated, even though it has a little bit of caffeine in there, and then slowly peel off to decreasing or eliminating the caffeine altogether in your diet while you're trying to get pregnant, guys. Remember, these changes don't have to be permanent. It's just enough lifestyle changes to make a real difference in your body, and remember to rebuild these cells. You're trying to give these eggs and this reproductive system the best possible boost that you can give it during this time. Get pretty creative at caffeine substitutes and virgin drinks during this time. And in fact, if any of you want me to do a video, comment down below if you want a video about substitutes for caffeine or warm drinks, or substitutes for alcohol or virgin drinks that you would still enjoy that will give you some satisfaction. Okay, number 2, what should I stop eating? Now this is a tricky one. I don't want to give you a blanket answer for this one because it could be a little bit different for every person. But one, I want to start with dairy. Dairy is one of those things that your body will tell you if it does not like dairy. If after you consume some ice cream or milk or a lot of cheese, you feel completely bloated, ill, more crampy, those things, your body is more prone to inflammation with that dairy. So if you're that person, I would suggest to eliminate it or bring it down to a minimal. Right now, there's just so many great substitutes that taste just as good as dairy. There's butter substitutes, there's whipped cream substitutes, cheese substitutes, all types of substitutes that you could utilize instead of dairy itself. So dairy is one of those that I would say listen to your body, and if you of course are lactose intolerant or have a known sensitivity to dairy, eliminate it altogether. Some studies have shown that there is a correlation between endometriosis and red meat eaters. And some people love red meat. However, if you have endometriosis, it won't hurt at this time to at least limit the amount of red meat that you consume. You don't have to get rid of it altogether. And if your body craves that burger, please don't feel guilty or bad for taking that burger, eating it, and enjoying every bite of it. But I would say too much of anything, can be harmful, but we just have to take extra precautions when we have certain conditions. So red meat, I would say limit if you have endometriosis or a condition that causes inflammation. Lastly, gluten. Gluten is one of those things that you hear talked about over and over again, especially in the world of infertility and when you're trying to adjust and improve diet. So gluten, some people actually have true sensitivities to gluten, and some people do not. There is actual condition called celiac disease where we suggest not to consume gluten at all. However, if you are just trying to make changes to decrease inflammation in your body due to this infertility journey that you're on, I would suggest to limit your gluten. And when I say that, I mean maybe skip a meal of gluten, skip a day of gluten, have gluten-free weekends. Whatever you do, a little that you do is better than nothing. And I don't want you to obsess over your diet, your newfound diet. So I would say limit your gluten during the infertility journey. I definitely did that. And I was shocked by things that I found that were gluten-free cookies were delicious that I found, gluten-free breads, all these things that I had no idea, rice, all these things that I could still consume freely and still be gluten-free. I went ahead and did it even though I didn't have a sensitivity. So I would recommend to at least limit the gluten in your diet. Okay, what should you add to your diet? In most cases, you can just about keep what you eat about the same with a few adjustments here and there, because most people on the infertility journey have already made some changes to your diet. So what you add is kind of a fun thing because it allows you to explore different types of foods. Those going through infertility, I would recommend to have deep dark greens every single day. So whether it's cold in the form of a salad where you're adding some superfoods on top of it, or it's actually sauteed or roasted vegetables, I would suggest to do this at least once per meal. Of course, we want you to have the maximum of fruits and vegetables that you can possibly have during this journey, but make sure that you do not exclude that dark green leafy vegetable. So that can be Brussels sprouts, it could be spinach, it could be kale, it could be bok choy or Swiss chard, those types of things, and try and experiment with the way that you're cooking them to make it fun. But yes, greens every single day have so many nutrients, antioxidants in them that we just so desperately need while we're going through infertility. I just touched on superfoods, so I'm going to elaborate that a little bit more because that's another thing that you want to be sure to add to your diet. Superfoods are so important, and these are foods that really boost your cells, really boost your egg quality exponentially on top of what you normally eat. I'm going to give you a few of those to look up, explore, and research because you might find that they'll be helpful with your new diet. Some of these superfoods you can add or make a smoothie. Some of these superfoods you may want to put on top of a salad, and some of these superfoods you can put peanut butter on an apple and sprinkle on top of that. But royal jelly is the first one that I want to discuss. Royal jelly is actually what is given from the worker bees to queen bee. And the queen bee, when she consumes this, she normally has a lifespan of about 6 years, and she produces about 2,000 eggs per day because of the royal jelly. And we know this because those that do, the other little bees that do not receive royal jelly, live about 2 months. And so, and their offsprings is not as half as vast as the queen bee. So we have learned a lot from the queen bee. We now have the royal jelly in the form that we can consume. And it literally comes in the form of something that looks like jelly. I used to add it to a warm drink, or I would add it to a tea. Or sometimes you can add it to a smoothie. You just have to be careful about overheating it. So you have to be careful when you do add it to something warm. It doesn't taste terrible. Usually they make it in a honey or something sweet so that it doesn't taste bad. I've even seen people consume royal jelly just by the spoonful, just taking a spoonful of it itself. But it is really good for egg quality. And I suggest, especially for those with low ovarian reserve, to really look into royal jelly. Other superfoods or super seeds or super nuts would be like walnuts, chia seeds, hemp seeds. Pumpkin seeds are fabulous for fertility, and maca. It's not a seed, but maca is also something that really helps with fertility and libido, which sometimes we need during the journey while we're trying to get pregnant. Ladies, we need protein in our diet when we are trying to have a baby. It's so vitally important. So even though previously I talked about maybe decreasing some red meats, you want to be sure that you don't skip out on protein altogether. So get your protein in other forms, your nuts, your other different meats. You can also get protein, believe it or not, in some of the vegetables that you consume. There's so many different ways to get the proteins that you need, but just be sure not to skimp on them. And to add to that, I want to say consuming fat is also important when trying to have a baby. So it's definitely not the time to go skimp on like drinking skim milks and low fat yogurt if you eat yogurt. It's not the time to go fat free on anything. I mean, you can't be going to just munch to town on bacon because that's just not healthy for you. We don't want you to have a heart attack in the middle of all this. But we do want you to maintain a level of fat saturation. So avocados are a great choice for a healthy fat that you can put in your diet, and that they go well with anything as well as by themselves. So have fun with it. I have to do that last plug for water. Y'all will not believe how much water will make you feel better. It can cure your headache. It can give you energy. It is such a good replacement for the caffeine that you may have been dependent upon, in addition to all of the great things that it will do for your body. So go get you some water right now. Get up. Go get you a glass of water. Anyhow, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope these things were helpful for you. Remember, guys, we're not trying to put you on a diet. We are trying to change a lifestyle. Infertility is a lifelong marathon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Take care.